What does it mean for a person to truly find happiness in their own role in life? Can true contentment be achieved by following society's ever-changing norms or by embracing one's inherent nature? Friedrich Nietzsche, the German philosopher, had strong opinions on these questions, especially when it came to the roles of women. His thoughts on women's emancipation were controversial, and he believed that women seeking to break free from traditional roles might not find the happiness they were looking for. Nietzsche lived during a time of great social change. The late 19th century saw the rise of the women's emancipation movement, where many women began to demand equal rights and opportunities. This movement aimed to give women more freedom in choosing their paths, whether in education, work, or personal life. Many people saw this as a positive and necessary change, but Nietzsche had a very different view. He argued that this push for equality might lead women away from their true nature, making them unhappy in the process. Nietzsche believed that men and women had fundamentally different natures. He saw women as nurturing, supportive, and oriented towards family and children. To him, these qualities were not just social constructs, but inherent traits. In his view, trying to change these roles would be like going against nature itself. He thought that encouraging women to pursue the same ambitions as men, such as careers in academia, politics, or business, was misguided and would ultimately cause more harm than good. He criticized the emancipation movement for creating what he called the modern woman. He described this modern woman as someone who rejects traditional roles, strives for independence, and competes with men. He was skeptical of whether such independence would bring true fulfillment to women. He worried that in trying to be like men, women would lose touch with their natural instincts and desires. Nietzsche questioned whether the newfound freedom would lead to genuine happiness, or if it would create a sense of emptiness and disconnection from what he saw as their true purpose. One of Nietzsche's key criticisms was that the emancipation movement ignored the importance of motherhood and family. He believed that the desire to nurture and care for others was central to a woman's identity. By encouraging women to leave the domestic sphere, he argued, society was undermining a vital aspect of their being. He felt that the focus on career and independence was a distraction from what he considered to be the most fulfilling and important role for women. He also argued that the push for equality could lead to a kind of mediocrity. He believed that by trying to make men and women the same, society was ignoring the unique strengths and qualities of each gender. In his view, the differences between men and women should be celebrated and nurtured, not erased. He saw the blending of roles and identities as a threat to both individual fulfillment and societal harmony. Moreover, Nietzsche was critical of the idea that happiness could be found in external achievements or social status. He believed that true contentment came from within and was linked to living in accordance with one's nature. For him, the women's emancipation movement was based on the false premise that happiness could be found by adopting the roles and ambitions traditionally held by men. He thought this approach would lead to dissatisfaction because it ignored the deeper intrinsic aspects of women's identities. Nietzsche's views on women's emancipation reflect a broader skepticism about social progress and modernity. He often criticized contemporary society for its focus on superficial changes rather than deeper, more meaningful transformations. He believed that true progress came from understanding and embracing one's nature, not from conforming to social trends or movements. In conclusion, Nietzsche's critique of women's emancipation was rooted in his belief in the fundamental differences between men and women. He argued that encouraging women to adopt the same roles and ambitions as men would lead to unhappiness and a loss of identity. While many of his views are controversial and often seen as outdated, they provide a provocative perspective on the relationship between nature, happiness, and social change. By questioning the assumptions of the emancipation movement, Nietzsche challenged his contemporaries to think deeply about the true sources of fulfillment and the importance of living in harmony with one's inherent nature.